It's a Thursday afternoon. Where would you rather be than here on WagerTalk TV? And it's first pitch time, even with a small slate, just 6 games on the card. We're still going to get you ready for the action tonight, especially in the Brewers and Dodgers game. We're going to talk total, side, and pitcher props in that one. We're also going to have some plays in Detroit, in Cleveland, and the D-backs at the Padres. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and joining me today, I got Tokyo Brandon, Brian Leonard, and Steve Merrill. All the talk before the show was about time zones, and my brain hurts, guys, so I am ready to talk baseball. I'm not sure about you, gentlemen. Happy to be into it. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and hop in the comments. We love hearing from you and what your plays are on today's slate, whether you're joining us live or on the rewatch. Brandon, let's start with you, Mr. Mountain Time Zone. You can check him out, wt.buzz/TB, and he's going to be the first of 4 different plays that we have in this Dodgers and Brewers game tonight. So let's kick it off with some pitcher props, Brandon. One of your specialties. What are we eyeing?
Yeah, let's do that. Mountain Time is the ultimate time zone in the United States because it never changes, and Pacific time does change. So let's just end that argument here. But anyway, I am in the United States right now. I don't have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do this show, so I'm very happy. It is 3 o'clock in Japan right now, and I'm happy to be in Arizona. So we'll be in Las Vegas tomorrow. So let's get to the play anyways. Enough chit-chat. So Lance Lynn goes today for the Dodgers, and he's not the best pitcher in the world. He's got a 1.35 whip, something like that. Not real great, but he's not that bad, actually. And in his season this year, he's averaging 17.3 outs per start here. The Brewers generally are not known as a good hitting team, but they are quite disciplined. So this is an outs prop. And when you do outs props, what you want to do is look at the average of the pitcher. How long does he generally go? And then does this lineup challenge him? Does this lineup help him boost his outs or chop his outs down? And the Brewers generally chop outs down by about 0.6 outs per starting pitcher's start. So when I do the math, that comes to 16.7 outs projected for Lance Lynn. And it's 18.5 on DraftKings right now. So that'll probably drop down to 17.5 eventually because it's just pretty high. But I like the Lance Lynn outs recorded under today. Like I said, the Brewers are not known as a power hitting team. They're actually a pretty weak hitting team, but they do make pitchers work. They are quite disciplined. And Lance Lynn, although he probably will get a win today, I don't think they'll make him. I don't think he'll pitch past the 6th inning. As a matter of fact, in his last few starts, he hasn't pitched past into the 7th inning. He's only gone about 90 pitches. He hasn't reached 100 pitches in 4 starts. So I like Lance Lynn under 18.5. I like him under 17.5 if it drops down to that as well.
That's Tokyo Brandon. He's got a 4% best bet rocking today in MLB. Now that he's stateside, we'll be seeing you soon in Las Vegas, Tokyo. And Brian Leonard also with us. He doesn't have to travel anywhere to see all the folks in Vegas. And Bri, you'll be second up on this Dodgers and Brewers game. Dodgers obviously looking for the sweep here tonight, but both matchups auspiciously have stayed at exactly 8 runs. So are we staying below 8.5 again here tonight? What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, we've got a limited amount of card to work with tonight, but we ended up on the same game and feeling a little bit differently than Tokyo Brandon on this one. Is I think Lanston will have a little bit more success being with the Dodgers. Dodgers will work miracles on some of these pitchers coming over there. So I think he's going to have a pretty good game, but I think Corbin Burns will also. Corbin Burns has been good this year as compared to great in the past, but he's starting to get it back together. Both of these pitchers are pitching much better now than they were earlier in the season. Burns comes in with a 3.6 ERA, 1.08 whip. He's been a solid contributor, as always, to this Brewers staff. His advanced stats show he's been as good as those numbers, so we should expect something in that regard. Like I said, he's pitching better now than he did earlier, so he might get a little bit better than what the actual numbers show here. He's coming off one of his worst starts of the season, allowing 5 earned runs in 5.2 innings against the White Sox. I think it's a bounce back game here for him. I think it's a going up against the Dodgers team, one of the best teams in baseball just about every year. I think these players really get fired up to be able to pitch against them. So I'm expecting a good effort here out of Burns. Lance Lynn, he's been dealing with the bad luck all season. He has a 5.88 ERA, 1.39 whip on the year. But when you take a look at his at-bat stats, he shows a 3.93 xFIP, 3.83 SIERA. That's like 2 runs less than what his actual stats show. So he'll be in for some positive regression, especially if you take a look at his BABIP, which is sitting at 316 right now. So I think it's Lance Lynn's going to be very good the rest of the season. Since coming to the Dodgers, he's pitched 18 innings, allowed only 4 earned runs. His strikeout to walk ratio is 22-4. As I mentioned, this LA organization is terrific at getting the best out of struggling starters. Lynn's been totally different since he's come over here, and I expect another good start out of him. And just for the opposite, when you take a look at players who leave LA, we've got Syndergaard has gone over to Cleveland, and Cleveland's so good at their pitchers, developing the pitchers, and he still isn't very good. So it tells you how well LA does from a pitching standpoint. I like this game to go under. 2 pitchers on a mission who are pitching better now than they were for the full season. Give me the under in this one.
Love the breakdown there from Bry. He's got a 5% best bet rocking this evening, only the second of the month for Brian Leonard. So check him out, wt.buzz/BL. Steve, before I get to you, we had someone in the chat mentioning, hey, anybody has a bet for the game that's starting in, 3 minutes from now, Seattle and Kansas City? I never get put on the spot to give baseball plays out here. So I'm going to look at the first 5 total over for Seattle and Kansas City. Both of them have been hitting their team totals over in the first 5 like crazy. Take out ISO in them both. Let's get some runs early here and some day game action. So now I'm on the spot. Hop below in the comments and tell me how wrong I am on that one when you're watching this on the rewatch. Steve, you also are going to be talking Dodgers later in Best Bet, but let's talk a little D-backs and Padres because this is a ultra important 4-game set for both of these teams. So they have to be pretty jazzed up for this one as they're both sitting outside looking in on the NL playoff picture. So as far as game 1 goes, what are you thinking, Steve?
Yeah, Dan, I'll jump in real quick on that Royals-Mariners. As you know, I talked about that game on WagerTalk today a couple hours ago. We never want people switching channels on the same channel to go watch that. So I'll give that out free for you right now. I like the over as well for the full game. And I mentioned over 9. And there's actually a straggler 8.5 out there now. And Teddy talked about how daytime games sometimes are lower scoring. I think that's why we've seen a little bit of money come under. But these 2 offenses, red hot, Mariners, Royals, over 9 would be my recommendation. That game, which starts in about 2 minutes. A little daytime bonus for the live viewers here on WagerTalk TV. All right, let's look at a Thursday night game, as you mentioned here. Diamondbacks, Padres. Wanted to talk about this game in the big game breakdown for a couple reasons. Because, first of all, these are 2 teams that have really been play against teams in recent weeks and recent years. First of all, the Padres have been the biggest money burner in baseball for several seasons now. And that's normally what happens when you have one of the highest profile teams, a lot of star power, and you underachieve. So that's not a surprise. But I did back them last night as a best bet winner, and I think there could be some upside with San Diego going forward. But also wanted to talk about Arizona because, as Tokyo Brandon mentioned, he's back home stateside in Arizona. So we got to talk about his Arizona Diamondbacks while he's on the show. And the D-backs were the worst offensive team since the All-Star break. Ice cold for several weeks. But as is often the case, whether it be the financial markets, the sports betting markets, baseball in general, I always look for momentum, and I'd like to try to catch the momentum when it's turning. And I think that could be the case with both of these teams. So we're going to stay off the side here, but I would look at the over. And I'm more comfortable back in Arizona now than I would have been a few weeks ago. You know, we talked about how ice cold that offense was for several weeks after the All-Star break. It does look like they're turning around and turning the corner. Now, I don't want to read too much in to the 3 high-scoring games in Colorado. That's Coors Field. But they did hit the ball extremely well in those last 2 games. Not only 17 runs, but 26 hits. They also had double-digit hits in 2 of the 3 games before that, including 2 games in San Diego. They put up 13 runs on 25 hits in the recent 3 games in San Diego, which has not been a hitter-friendly park. So I definitely think we've got the buy side with the Arizona offense. And as I said earlier, I think we might have the buy side with San Diego as well. 15 runs, 21 hits in their last 2 games against Baltimore, including a best bet winner for my clients last night on the Padres, plus money on the run line. So stay off the side here. I think these are both play on teams over the next week or two. You can use that information going forward. But let's look at the total here. Over 8.5, a very nice number. 9 is always a key number. Games can't end 4-4, so 9 happens more than 8s. And I like 8.5 over here in this one this evening at 9:40 Eastern on Thursday.
Over the 8.5, according to our man Steve Merrill, and he has been seeing it well over the last week in MLB. 88% run, 7-1. He's been seeing it. Check him out, wt.buzz/SM. And Mountain Man Brandon, let's swing it back to your time zone and figure out what you like on the other mound. You talked Lance Lynn under the 18.5 outs recorded. So we're equal opportunity here. So you have to talk Corbin Burns. What's your best bet here, Brandon?
Yeah, here's my Arizona Diamondbacks. There we go. And although Bryan and I do disagree, we do agree on our taste in music, which is why we're going to see Steel Panther together on Saturday night. So anyways, yeah, Burns is striking out batters at about 8.5 per 9 innings. So this is a strikeout prop. And when you do strikeout props, what you want to do is you want to look at how, like, the pitcher's average, how often he strikes people out per 9. And then you want to look at how deep he goes into games. But you also want to look at the lineup he's facing and how often they strike out. So looking at this matchup, Burns is striking out about the league average, which is about 8.5 per 9. He's going about 69% into his games, which is basically he's finishing the 6th inning. But let's look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers, amazingly, in the last 14 days, are striking out only 5.3 times per 9 innings. That's the best in Major League Baseball. That's the least strikeouts in Major League Baseball. And they are forcing starting pitchers to leave games early. They have a power lineup. I agree Corbin Burns is doing well. He did get rocked his last start. Overall, he's a good pitcher. And overall in his career, he does decent against Dodger batters. But looking at this Dodger strikeout rate per 9, I mean, for him, his strikeout prop on DraftKings is 6.5. So for him to get 7 strikeouts, according to this data, he would have to finish the 7th inning, and I don't see him doing that. I don't see the Dodgers striking out 7 times against this guy, especially when they're only striking out 5.3 times per 9 innings. So I'm on the Corbin Burns under 6.5 strikeouts for my best bet on the show. I don't think he's going to get there. Even if you take out the Dodgers batters, the math comes to 6.2 strikeouts. So I don't see him getting to 7 here. You add in the low rate of the Dodgers batters, and you get basically 4.9 or 5 strikeouts in this game. So I think he'll get 5 strikeouts in this game, which is well under the 6.5. I'm on 6.5 under. And Bryan, I'll see you on Saturday night.
I love it. So Tokyo Brandon breaking down the under for Corbin Burns. And it's funny because we're on the baseball show here on WagerTalk TV. And we've seen the Bash brothers, but now we know we also have the headbanging brothers in Tokyo Brandon and Brian Leonard. So I absolutely love it, guys. I'm kind of jealous. I wish I was getting in a little bit earlier. I would try and join you out there. Steel Panther, absolutely laugh out loud stuff. So I'm hoping you guys have a great time out there. And I'll get the full recap when I see you, Jim.
Check out their cover of Cheap Trick's She's Tight on YouTube. It's hilarious.
Oh, God. I can only imagine. Steve, call back earmuffs. I think we need earmuffs when we're talking some Steel Panther there. All right, Bri, let's talk a little Cleveland, a team that you know well, as they are taking on the Tigers tonight. And the Tigers just continue this road trip, 9-game road trip. They open up this 4-game set, and you got a best bet for us here. What are we thinking, Bri?
Yeah, I'm very loyal to my hometowns. Grew up in Cleveland, now live in Las Vegas, and try to watch as many games, if not all the games, that I can. And it's nothing new. Everybody knows the Cleveland's offense is lousy. They've had a lousy offense all season long. They can't find a catcher over the last decade to hit 200. This is a bad offense in Cleveland. They're going up against Detroit here. And Derek Skubal. And Derek Skubal's been a very good pitcher. I think Cleveland's really going to struggle against them. I talked about how bad that we are against lefties. I say we. Sorry about that. It's a habit. But the Guardians against lefties, Their WRC plus on the season is 78. That's second worst in Major League Baseball, right behind the Colorado Rockies, which I believe are at 64. Horrendous against left-handers. 78 will put them at 22% worse than league average. Now they're going up against one of the best in my regard, Tarek Skubal. 4.18 ERA, 1.14 WHIP. But if you take a look at his advanced stats, he's been unlucky so far. His xFIP is 2.90. His Sierra is 3.14. His stuff plus numbers 9 points better than his opponent on the mound today in Xavier Curry. I really think Cleveland is going to struggle against the Tigers and this lefty in tonight's game. And we're getting a total of 3.5 that we can bet under. So I'm betting under 3.5 runs for Cleveland on today's game. And I really think that Skubal's going to shut them down here.
Great look there. And I never understood the backlash that people would give whenever you use "we" when talking about sports teams. If you paid for one ticket, you are now a "we." As you paid for salaries, you paid for the workers, and especially when I was in Philly and had Eagles season tickets, I damn sure was a "we" with the money that I was spending in that one. So I'm with you, Brian. No apologies on letting the "we" slip there. Steve Merrill is going to get the last word, and it's only natural that the final best bet of the day is going to be in Dodgers and Brewers, a game that we have the folks all ready to bet. So, Steve, what do you got in this one?
Yeah, going to look at a free play on the late night game for Thursday night. You know, it's a small card on Thursday, but it's not that small because there's some great investment opportunities. I'm very selective. I average maybe 1 to 2 games at most. In fact, over the last 7 days, I've posted 8 baseball best bets, and I've gone 7-1, 88%. So that's barely over 1 play a day, 7-1 run the last week, and I've got 3 best bets for Thursday. 3 best bets, a late afternoon game at 4 Eastern, and then also 2 nighttime games. So this is not a bad time to check out a 3-for-1. If you're joining us late, there's still a 2-for-1 special. Either way, don't miss those 3 strong best bets for Thursday baseball right now at SteveMerrillWagerTalk.com. And a bonus free play game that was just a bit outside for making the cut is the late night game. And that's going to be the hottest team in baseball, the LA Dodgers, winners of 10 straight, laying a short price, in my opinion. Dodgers minus 145 money line. And I do like the fact that Lance Lynn is on the mound, the workhorse who has a renewed life here. Talk about a renewed life. It's just obvious what's happened here. He gets traded from a bottom feeder Chicago White Sox team to a perennial championship contender in the Dodgers. And boy, what a difference just a couple of weeks can make. Lance Lynn, 21 starts for Chicago this season, had a 6.47 ERA. His 3 starts for the Dodgers, a 2.0 ERA, and nothing misleading about it. 22 strikeouts and only 4 walks. With the hottest team in baseball and a good pitcher on the mound tonight, take a look at the LA Dodgers minus 145 with Lynn on the mound, 10 p.m. Eastern Thursday. And don't forget, 3 games or even stronger, a 3-for-1 special. And you might want to pay attention because I'm 7-1, 88%, number 1 in baseball the last week at WagerTalk.com. And I've got 3 strong best bets right now for Thursday night.
Dodgers laying the spot here tonight, minus 145. Steve Merrill, check him out, as he said, at WagerTalk.com. And that does it for us. Only 6 games, and hopefully we got you ready. Huge thanks to everyone joining us live, and big thanks to our experts, Steve Merrill, Brian Leonard, and Tokyo Brandon, getting you ready for tonight's baseball action. All we ask you to do, hit that like button. Make sure you never miss any of the shows here by hitting subscribe to WagerTalk TV. And as Steve said, don't go anywhere. Stay right here on WagerTalk TV YouTube channel and check out WagerTalk today. Also, a little CFB NFL season win totals, if that's your thing. All that and more here on WagerTalk TV.